Ever wondered how, India's most successful entrepreneurs, those ultra-rich billionaires or even big government funds are investing their money? It's often beyond the usual stocks and bonds we hear about. There's this whole other fascinating world out there, and it's growing incredibly fast. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Chapter 2 of the NISM Alternative Investment Funds Distributors Workbook. Specifically, Categories 1 and 2, our mission, to basically demystify these alternative investment funds, or AIFs, in India. We'll look at how they've grown, what's really driving that success, and break down exactly what types exist so you get a really clear picture.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, it's going to go beyond just textbook definitions. We want to get into the actual forces shaping India's alternative investment scene, hopefully giving you insights, connections you might not get from just a quick read. Think of it like understanding the engine, not just looking at the car's paint job.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The whole story of alternative investments in India, it really starts picking up steam after the big economic liberalization back in 1991. Before that, things were quite different.
Very different.
Yeah, and our source points to a key moment, what it calls the first characteristic private equity transaction here. A really big one, USD 292 million. Warburg Pincus investing in Bharti Televentures Ltd. And what's important isn't just the amount, but that it worked out. They had a successful exit.
Right. Proof of concept.
Exactly. It showed this model could work in India. And soon after, we started seeing more later-stage PE funds popping up, like that big KKR buyout of Flextronics Ltd. in 2006. These were definitely early signs, the market waking up.
It's quite interesting, then, how the global financial crisis in 2008 really hit this emerging market. It had these definite ripple effects. Things really slowed down for private equity in India pretty much until around 2012. A lot of funds found themselves, struggling with valuations and actually finding ways to exit their investments.
Which makes fundraising tough, I imagine.
Exactly. Very tough. But then the tide turned quite dramatically. We saw this significant pickup starting around 2014. And a huge reason for that comeback was the introduction of the SEBI AIF regulations in 2012.
Ah, the regulations.
Yes, they were a game changer. Seriously. They provided that necessary structure, that confidence. They made AIFs, marketable, safe, and predictable for everyone involved. It wasn't just about rules. It was fundamentally about building trust in this asset class. So that whole period, say 2011 to 2019, it really became this phase of consolidation and transformation, setting the stage for the boom we're seeing now.
That makes sense. Predictability really does breed confidence, doesn't it? So after that dip and then the SEBI framework coming in, what exactly fueled this huge comeback? What pushed AIFs into the spotlight like this? It sounds like it was, a mix of things, demand and supply working together.
Precisely. A powerful combination, almost a perfect storm.
Okay, so on the demand side, what are we looking at? Well, first off, just the sheer economic growth. India's entrepreneurs, top corporate executives, they've done well. That created a whole new wave of high net worth individuals, family offices.
Looking for different places to invest?
Right, and looking beyond traditional markets. Plus, you've got more interest from NRIs wanting to invest back home, and just broader acceptance, right? More institutional investors are getting comfortable with AIFs. But here's something I found really striking, and I think it's key for understanding India's economy today. The source talks about this increasing tribe of billion-dollar ultra-net worth investors, the UHNIs. What really grabbed me wasn't just the wealth, but how it's being made. It's not just old industries.
No, it's the digital economy.
Exactly. Digital entrepreneurship, those massive startup valuations. This creates a whole pool of capital that's maybe more comfortable with the kind of risk and reward you see in AIFs. It changes who's investing and what they want. And then there's government support too, right? That played a role.
Oh, definitely. Initiatives like the Fund of Funds for Startups, that INR 10,000 crore one managed by SEPIFI, and also the National Infrastructure Investment Fund set up in 2015. These were important signals.
Like catalysts.
Yeah, catalysts. They helped de-risk certain areas, encouraged more private money to flow into AIFs, which then funded everything from, tech startups to essential infrastructure.
So if you connect the dots, these demand factors aren't just creating investment options, they're actually changing how businesses get funded and grow in India.
Fundamentally reshaping it.
Right.
And then on the supply side, you've just seen this explosion of opportunities for that capital to go into. The source mentions the emergence of the startup phase, bringing in all these value creators and services and technology-enabled business model.
Fintech, e-commerce, all that.
All of it. Plus, a really strong, sustained focus on clean tech, renewables. Those need big patient investments. And don't forget real estate, the whole realty sector, booming because of urbanization. So you have all these diverse expanding areas creating fertile ground for AIFs to put money to work, matching that growing demand from investors. It's become a virtuous cycle.
That really paints the picture of why this boom happened. So, okay, we understand the backdrop now. What does this mean for you, the listener, trying to get your head around these funds? Let's zoom in on the actual types, the different flavors of AIFs as SEBI categorizes them. Based on, what they invest in and how much they manage, it's like opening up a specialized toolbox.
Right. So broadly, SEBI has Category 1, Category 2, and Category 3. Now, just for clarity, based on the NSM workbook we're focusing on, Category 3 funds are kind of outside our scope for this deep dive. We're really digging into Category 1 and Category 2 today. They cover a huge and growing part of the AIF landscape, and honestly, that's where a lot of the action we've been talking about is happening.
Perfect. So let's start with category AIFs. These are often seen as, well, good for the country, strategically important for growth, and because of that, they sometimes get special incentives or benefits. The idea is to encourage investment in areas the government wants to boost.
Exactly. Socially or economically desirable is the term often used.
Right. So within Cat and I, first up, venture capital funds, or VCFs. Think early backers. Really early. If you've got a startup, maybe a new product, a disruptive service, cutting-edge tech, VCFs are often the first institutional money in. They target unlisted securities of startups, emerging or early-stage companies, focusing on novelty new products, services, tech, IP, new business models.
It really is that first stage of institutional financing, often for businesses that don't have a lot of physical assets, more tech-heavy, IP-focused digital stuff. They're hunting for the next unicorn.
Okay, and digging even deeper into that super early stage, there's a subcategory called angel funds. They also invest in startups at the seed stage or early stage. But the definition of an angel investor is quite specific here. It's not just anyone with money.
No, there are criteria.
Yeah, typically individuals with net tangible assets of at least 2 crore rupees, not counting their main home, and they need relevant experience. Either they're seasoned early-stage investors themselves, or successful serial entrepreneurs, or maybe senior execs with like 10 years experience. Even companies can be angel investors if they have a net worth of 10 crore. But the key is that mix of capital and know-how for those very first high-risk bets.
That expertise is crucial at that stage.
Definitely. Okay, now shifting gears a bit. Still in Category I, but moving from innovation to maybe financial cleanup, let's talk special situation funds, SSFs. These guys have a really unique and pretty vital role. They're like the economy's first responders almost. They invest in what are called special situation assets. So think about a company struggling with a lot of debt, loans that banks call stressed.
Right, non-performing assets.
Exactly. SSFs can step in, often by buying these stressed loans from specialized firms called asset reconstruction companies, or ARCs. ARCs buy bad debts from banks and try to recover value. SSFs can also invest directly in the securities of companies whose loans are stressed and up for grabs. And what's really interesting and important for the whole financial system is they can act as a resolution applicant under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code.
Which means they can actively participate in turning the company around.
Precisely. They can play a direct role in restructuring, reviving distressed companies. It helps prevent wider economic problems.
A very important function.
And then, wrapping up Category I, we have infrastructure funds. Pretty self-explanatory name. They focus on big infrastructure projects, building highways, ports, power plants, that sort of thing. Investing through equity or debt, usually via SPVs, special purpose vehicles. Now, these funds, as you'd guess, have some unique traits. They face high illiquidity. You can't just sell your stake easily like a stock. It's long-term.
Very long-term.
Yeah, and there's long gestation risk. Building that massive project takes years. Lots can go wrong. Plus, the debt gets paid back slowly, and while the equity returns might seem lower, they can be steadier over that long haul, which is why they attract specific types of investors, right? Like sovereign wealth funds, multilateral funds, those big players looking for stable, patient returns.
Exactly. They have the long-term horizon needed for infra. Okay, so that covers Category I really well. Moving on to Category 2 AFs. These are basically defined by what they're not. They don't fit into Category 1 or Category 3. And crucially, they do not undertake leverage or borrowing other than to meet day-to-day operational requirements. That lack of heavy borrowing is a key feature.
So less debt involved in the fund itself.
Right. Within Category 2, 2 main types usually come to mind. First, private equity funds, PE funds. Now, unlike VCFs focusing on the early stage, PE funds are generally involved in later stage financing. They look for companies that already have a proven business model but need capital to scale up to grow bigger.
Okay, so established businesses looking to expand.
Exactly. Their whole rationale is pretty straightforward. Achieve higher than market returns by investing in promising and growing unlisted companies and exiting at higher valuations, usually through an IPO or selling to another company.
Makes sense. Growth capital, essentially.
Precisely. And the second main type in category 2 is private debt funds, PDFs. These funds specialize in providing capital through debt, not equity, often to companies that might struggle to get traditional bank loans or need more flexible terms. They invest in things like unlisted debt securities. They offer structured financing like subordinate debt and mezzanine financing, basically. Debt with equity-like features, higher risk, higher return.
More complex debt instruments.
Yeah, and they can even do things like working capital financing. PDFs are actually quite versatile. You'll find many real estate debt funds, infrastructure debt funds, even some debt-focused special situation funds might technically fall under this private debt fund umbrella in category 2. They fill a really important financing gap.
Wow, okay. So looking across all of these CAD 2, from the VCFs betting on tiny startups, to SSFs cleaning up stressed assets, to PE funds scaling up businesses and infra funds building roads, what really stands out is the incredible specialization, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Each type is like a precision tool designed for a very specific job in the capital markets. So for you, the listener, the takeaway is understanding that these funds aren't all the same. They're highly tailored for different investment goals, different risk appetites, channeling money exactly where it's needed in the Indian economy. Right, so today we've really covered a lot of ground, haven't we? A real whistle-stop tour through Chapter 2 of that NISM workbook. We've mapped out how AIFs evolved in India, looked at the powerful forces driving their growth, both demand and supply side, and we've broken down the specific types of funds, Category 1 and 2, that make this market so dynamic. It's a landscape that's definitely still changing.
Constantly changing. And this whole deep dive into how these specialized funds are channeling capital so efficiently, it does raise an interesting question for the future. As this market keeps evolving, what new kinds of special situation assets might appear? Or maybe totally new types of startup ventures that need funding? Could we see new AIF categories emerge that we can't even quite imagine today, tailored to challenges and opportunities that are just around the corner? The innovation here feels relentless.
That's a great point. It's definitely a space to watch. It's far from static. Well, we really hope this deep dive has given you a clearer, maybe more nuanced understanding of the alternative investment landscape here in India, and perhaps it sparks some new questions or curiosities for you to explore further. Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep being well informed.